Beneath the gentle waves of the vast ocean, a city lay quietly, cradled in the ebb and flow of tides and sunlight. This city, known to many as Bikini Bottom, held a rhythm all its own, a harmony between the creatures who dwelled there and the currents of the sea. From the smallest sand grain that shifted with the ocean floor to the gentle sway of kelp forests, life moved in a delicate, measured cadence. Yet within this tranquil rhythm, there existed stories, secrets, and curiosities that few above the waves could ever imagine. Bikini Bottom was not merely a city of houses and streets. Its very foundations resonated with subtle magic. The laughter of its inhabitants mingled with the currents, echoing in hidden caverns, and the bright glow of bioluminescent flora lit pathways beneath the waves. Some say the city was built atop a coral reef that had existed for millennia, each layer of sand and shell carrying whispers of the past. Here, in the quiet hours of dawn, the streets were empty, yet alive, awaiting the day's beginning. Among the earliest stirrings of the morning were the houses of its most famous residents. One could imagine the square, sponge-like structure of Spongebob's pineapple home, rising from the sand with its familiar curves and windows. Beneath the surface, this home was more than wood and fruit-like architecture. It was a center of energy, a place where laughter and curiosity converged. Spongebob himself, even in stillness, embodied the city's boundless optimism, his essence spreading like a warm current through the streets. Curiosity is woven into the very fabric of Bikini Bottom. For example, one might notice that Spongebob's spatula, used daily to craft Krabby Patties, is a symbol of dedication, yet it also hints at the magical possibilities of the sea. It is said that every flip carries with it a subtle rhythm, a dance of precision that shapes not only food, but the energy of the moment itself. And then there is the secret of the Krusty Krab. The building's design may appear ordinary, but the placement of its windows, tables, and even the direction of its smoke vent is carefully aligned with currents of the ocean, guiding fish safely through the city's bustling thoroughfares. As the day grew brighter, jellyfish could be seen drifting lazily among the coral gardens. These creatures, seemingly simple, were intricately connected to the life of the city. They were not just creatures to chase or observe. Their movements, synchronized with the tides, played a role in the subtle balance of light and energy that sustained Bikini Bottom. It is said that a single jellyfish sting carries with it a memory of the sea, a record of the currents, the temperature, and even the passing of other creatures. To witness them was to glimpse the pulse of life itself, a quiet reminder of the vast complexity hidden beneath the ocean's surface. Squidward's home, a tall, moai-like structure, stood in solemn contrast to the vibrant surroundings. Its stone facade exuded stillness and reflection, yet even within its walls, subtle currents of sound and motion could be felt. Squidward's music, played quietly or not at all, contributed to the city's intricate symphony, each note and pause resonating with hidden frequencies that shaped the mood of the day. One might not notice these details consciously, but every resident, from Spongebob to Patrick, moved with the rhythm set in part by these invisible harmonies. Bikini Bottom held countless curiosities hidden in plain sight. The streets, while familiar, contained hidden passages and secret alcoves. There were tunnels beneath Goo Lagoon, forgotten by all but the most observant, where currents converged and seashells sang faint songs when the water passed just so. Even the Chum Bucket, despite its reputation, held unique wonders. Its interior design, though neglected, subtly manipulated the surrounding currents, creating pockets where sea life thrived. Unnoticed, Patrick Star, the starfish of simple appearance and gentle thought, played his part in the city's hidden harmony. Though often perceived as lazy, Patrick's slow movements and measured presence had a stabilizing effect on the sand and small currents near his home. In certain areas, it is said that starfish can sense subtle vibrations through the sand, and Patrick, without intention, maintained a kind of balance that few others could achieve. As the morning sun filtered through the waves, tiny bubbles rose and shimmered in the light. Each bubble, delicate and fleeting, carried with it a history, a memory of the sea, of creatures that had passed through, of scents and colors that had mingled over centuries. Even the simplest act of a bubble rising to the surface was part of the city's vast rhythm, a small yet meaningful piece of a story far larger than any one resident or landmark. Sandy Cheeks' tree dome, filled with air yet firmly rooted beneath the waves, served as a reminder of curiosity and ingenuity. It was not merely a home, it was a laboratory, a sanctuary of learning, and a testament to adaptation. Within its walls, strange contraptions and experiments influenced the currents subtly, guiding energy and life in imperceptible ways. One could imagine that even the acorns and plants inside carried with them traces of the land above the waves, weaving together two worlds in quiet balance. By midday, the city hummed softly with life, though it remained serene, a world moving in harmony with itself. The faint ripples of conversation, the shimmer of passing fish, and the subtle sway of kelp forests created an ambient rhythm that was both relaxing and profound. Each resident contributed unknowingly to this symphony, their presence weaving together the city's essence with the currents, tides, and sunlight filtering through the water. Bikini Bottom was a city of layered stories, where the ordinary was imbued with hidden depth. Every Krabby Patty flipped, every jellyfish floated, every bubble drifted upward. Each action contained wonder, each moment a subtle testament to the magic of the sea. In this awakening of the city, one could see not only the homes and streets, but the invisible threads connecting life, energy, and curiosity across a world both ordinary and extraordinary. The sun began to dip toward the horizon, casting long shadows across the seafloor. Light and dark intertwined, revealing the city's contours, its hidden alcoves, and its quiet mysteries. In this hour, Bikini Bottom rested in poised anticipation for the adventures and curiosities yet to unfold. A city alive with stories, secrets, and wonders, waiting for the eyes and hearts patient enough to perceive them. And so, as the tides continued their eternal dance, the city of Bikini Bottom awakened fully, a realm of light and shadow, of laughter and quiet, of curiosity and legend. The ocean held it gently, nurturing every resident, every current, every secret hidden beneath the waves. And somewhere in the midst of it all, the pulse of life continued, soft and enduring, as the stage for countless tales, remarkable and tranquil, was set for those willing to look beyond the surface. Beneath the shimmering surface of the ocean, currents moved with a quiet, steady rhythm. Each flow carried whispers of life, echoing through the coral gardens, weaving around the tall kelp forests, and brushing gently against the homes of Bikini Bottom's residents. The city, though familiar on the surface, was alive with hidden wonders, subtle phenomena that shaped the world in ways both profound and unseen. As the day progressed, Spongebob could be imagined stirring gently in his pineapple home. Each movement he made, whether stretching, cleaning, or preparing for his day, resonated with the currents beneath the sand. The very architecture of his home seemed designed to amplify these subtle energies, allowing light and sound to flow freely through every corner. Even the smallest details, the way the windows framed the sunlight, or how the walls curved inward, contributed to the balance of the surrounding currents. Jellyfish fields, stretching far beyond the city's borders, glimmered under the filtered sunlight. The jellyfish, delicate and luminous, moved not randomly but with intention, responding to currents, temperature changes, and distant vibrations from the city. It is said that a swarm of jellyfish, when moving together, can create faint, harmonic frequencies that resonate through the sand, subtly influencing the paths of nearby fish and even the sway of kelp forests. These frequencies, imperceptible to most, contributed to the delicate equilibrium of life in and around Bikini Bottom. Patrick Starr, resting in his usual spot beneath his rock, radiated a calm that affected the surrounding sands. Though often perceived as idle, the gentle rise and fall of Patrick's body with the ocean's rhythm provided stability to the delicate microcurrents around his home. Scientists in the world above might call it coincidence, but in the quiet, mystical city, it was a subtle force shaping the patterns of life, ensuring balance even in apparent stillness. Farther away, the Krusty Krab began to hum with the silent energy of preparation. Each spatula swing, each flip of a patty, contributed to the city's unseen symphony. The patties themselves, carefully layered and cooked, released microscopic currents of aroma that subtly influenced nearby sea life. Even the placement of tables and chairs inside the restaurant had been aligned long ago to work with currents of water, allowing fish to swim with ease and avoiding turbulent patches that might disrupt the natural rhythm. Sandy Cheeks, immersed in her experiments, moved with careful precision, aware of the invisible threads connecting every action to the city's balance. Her tree dome, filled with air and technology, was a nexus where land and sea met. Plants, tools, and devices inside were arranged not just for function, but for the subtle management of currents, energy, and the flow of life outside her walls. It is said that Sandy could sense disturbances in the city's equilibrium before anyone else, her inventions allowing her to adjust for them in advance. The city's residents were surrounded by countless small wonders. Bubble streams drifted lazily through the water, each bubble carrying traces of minerals, tiny reflections of sunlight, and even faint whispers of nearby sounds. It is said that if one listened carefully, they could hear echoes of conversations, laughter, and movement from hours before, preserved briefly within the ephemeral sphere of a bubble. The simplest actions, blowing bubbles, chasing them, or letting them rise, contributed to this continuous, delicate symphony. Even the less celebrated corners of Bikini Bottom held marvels. The chum bucket, though often neglected, contained hidden pockets of thriving life. Small crustaceans, tiny sea slugs, and glowing plankton found shelter in the structures of the abandoned machinery. The currents inside these nooks were shaped in ways that allowed life to flourish quietly, unnoticed, as if the very any past building itself had adapted to sustain its surroundings. The streets, though tranquil, carried their own hidden currents. Every footstep, every gliding movement of a fish or sea creature left a subtle ripple through the sand. These ripples interacted with the flows generated by currents, tides, and even the laughter of residents, creating an ever-changing tapestry of motion and energy. Spongebob's laughter, the joyful play of children, or even the simple passing of a clam contributed to this living rhythm, a continuous pulse felt by all who called Bikini Bottom home. Goo Lagoon, a gentle bay just beyond the city, mirrored the sky in calm serenity. The water, though seemingly still, contained layers of motion beneath. Tiny whirlpools spun unnoticed, currents swirled around sandbars, and schools of small fish moved in patterns that seemed random but were guided by unseen forces. It is said that observing these patterns could reveal hidden truths about the city's energy, its balance, its mood, and even its latent potential for change. Curious structures peppered the city, each with a story waiting to be discovered. The tree dome's glass dome reflected sunlight and refracted it in patterns that influenced the growth of kelp and coral nearby. Spongebob's pineapple, Patrick's rock, Squidward's moai-like home, and even the Krusty Krab each contained architectural secrets that interacted with currents, subtle magnetic fields, and light to maintain harmony. These interactions were imperceptible to the casual eye, yet essential to the city's quiet, enduring equilibrium. By afternoon, the currents of Bikini Bottom had grown warmer and brighter. Sunlight filtered through the waves, highlighting swaying kelp and revealing hidden schools of fish darting through coral. The city seemed alive with an inner glow, as if the very essence of its inhabitants, Spongebob's optimism, Patrick's calm, Squidward's contemplation, Sandy's ingenuity, had seeped into the currents and imbued the city with enduring vitality. Even minor phenomena carried wonder. Tiny sand crabs moved in intricate patterns, leaving delicate trails that shaped the texture of the ocean floor. Plankton, though small and often unnoticed, played an important role in maintaining nutrient cycles, subtly influencing the local currents. Each movement, each ripple, contributed to a grander rhythm, a layered pulse of life that defined the city and its magic. As the sun began to tilt toward evening, the glow of bioluminescent creatures emerged. Firefly-like plankton illuminated hidden crevices and alcoves, casting a serene light over the streets and coral gardens. The city, ever vibrant, transitioned smoothly from day to night, its rhythms continuous, its energy undisturbed, and its mysteries preserved. Bikini Bottom's magic was subtle, woven into the fabric of daily life. Every flip of a patty, every bubble rising to the surface, every shift in sand or sway of kelp contributed to the unseen balance of currents and energy. And in this harmony, the city thrived, a tranquil realm beneath the waves, alive with hidden wonders and epic in its quiet magnificence. As evening deepened over the gentle waves, the currents of Bikini Bottom carried whispers that only the attentive could perceive. Every ripple, every sway of kelp, every movement of the sand beneath the city contributed to a hidden symphony, a subtle orchestration of life, energy, and balance. In this symphony, each resident, whether aware or not, played a vital part, their actions merging seamlessly with the eternal rhythms of the sea. Spongebob, even in quiet repose, radiated a gentle vitality. The sponge's pores, though simple in appearance, interacted with the currents, drawing in nutrients and small particles that filtered through the ocean. These flows of energy did more than sustain him physically. They contributed to the larger currents of the city. Some say that when Spongebob laughed, a faint pulse traveled through the sand and water, influencing the movement of jellyfish and the sway of nearby coral. In this way, even the smallest expressions of joy became part of the city's invisible fabric. Patrick Star, resting beneath his familiar rock, continued to provide balance in his quiet way. His soft movements transmitted subtle vibrations through the sand, stabilizing the microcurrents around him. Starfish, in general, are highly sensitive to vibration, and Patrick's slow, deliberate motions helped maintain equilibrium. It is said that even the currents flowing near his home were slightly smoother than in other areas, a testament to his serene presence. The Krusty Krab, illuminated softly in the evening light filtering through the waves, continued to hum with silent energy. Each Krabby Patty, expertly flipped by Spongebob during the day, left behind a faint trail of aroma and warmth that lingered long after the rush of business. This energy influenced the behavior of fish nearby, subtly guiding them through streets and currents in gentle arcs. Even the placement of the restaurant's anchor and signpost was aligned to harmonize with the subtle vibrations of the sand below. Sandy Cheeks, immersed in her evening experiments, observed the interactions of her tree dome with the surrounding currents. Her gadgets, designed to measure and influence local energy flows, revealed patterns of movement invisible to ordinary eyes. The plants within her dome, sensitive to both light and water currents, contributed to a subtle web of influence, their leaves and roots shifting in response to minor changes in the surrounding sea. Sandy's understanding of these interactions made her tree dome a beacon of balance and ingenuity within the city. Jellyfish, drifting lazily through the coral gardens, moved with patterns that mirrored the unseen harmonics of the city. Their tentacles left delicate trails in the water, shaping microcurrents and influencing the motion of plankton. It is said that observing a swarm of jellyfish carefully could reveal shifts in energy, the subtle effects of nearby construction, or even the presence of hidden creatures in the sand. The jellyfish, though small and delicate, were guardians of the city's rhythm in ways most residents could not perceive. Squidward's home, the stoic moai-like structure, reflected the last rays of sunlight. Though the resident often appeared distant and uninterested, the quiet emanations of his presence contributed to the city's symphony. His music, when practiced, even faintly, resonated with the surrounding water, guiding currents and subtly influencing the mood of those nearby. Each pause and note, however small, carried a measurable effect on the flow of energy through the streets, enhancing the city's delicate balance. Bikini Bottom streets and alleys, though empty at this hour, were alive with tiny movements. Crabs scuttled along the sand, leaving trails that guided currents. Sea urchins, rooted in place, acted as anchors for minor flows, redirecting water gently as tides shifted. Even bubbles rising from unseen sources carried traces of nutrients, light, and sound, creating a complex network of influence that connected every corner of the city. Curiosities of the city revealed themselves in the simplest forms. The cracks in Patrick's rock, sometimes filled with tiny luminous organisms, which glowed softly at night. The patterns of these lights were not random. They reflected subtle variations in the surrounding currents and the movements of larger creatures nearby. Goo Lagoon, calm at this hour, exhibited minor ripples and reflections that could be read like a map of the city's energy. Observing the lagoon carefully revealed hidden connections between residents, currents, and even the distant glows of bioluminescent flora. The chum bucket, as neglected as it seemed, continued to influence its surroundings. Inside the building, hidden corners created unique micro-environments where small creatures thrived. Tiny amphipods, crustaceans, and plankton moved in precise patterns, subtly affecting the flow of water in neighboring streets. Even plankton, though small and often thwarted in ambition, contributed indirectly to the city's unseen equilibrium by altering local currents as he navigated through machinery and corridors. By nightfall, the bioluminescent creatures of the sea became more visible. Tiny organisms shimmered like stars along the coral reefs, casting soft, ambient light across the streets of Bikini Bottom. Each flicker, each pulse of glow, was part of the city's ongoing symphony. They highlighted paths, guided creatures, and contributed to a sense of calm that permeated the environment. This gentle illumination created a city both magical and serene, a realm where curiosity and quiet power intertwined. Even minor structures had secret wonders. Spongebob's pineapple, though simple in appearance, contained small air pockets that trapped warmth and sound, influencing the currents around it. Patrick's rock similarly absorbed and radiated subtle vibrations that shaped microcurrents. Squidward's moai-like home reflected and refracted light in ways that gently guided the flow of fish nearby. Sandy's tree dome amplified these effects, acting as a stabilizing hub for energy and life within the city. Every inhabitant, whether sponge, starfish, squirrel, or cephalopod, contributed to the city's hidden rhythm. Their movements, laughter, and even moments of stillness intertwined with currents, light, and subtle energies. The city's pulse was steady yet dynamic, a delicate balance maintained by centuries of interaction between life, architecture, and the ocean itself. As the night deepened, gentle tides carried soft echoes through the city. Currents brushed against coral, flowing around buildings and streets, carrying the whispers of the day into the quiet of night. Jellyfish glided past homes, bubbles drifted lazily to the surface, and bioluminescent creatures illuminated hidden paths. Every element moved in concert with the invisible symphony, maintaining balance while creating an ambiance of profound serenity. In the heart of Bikini Bottom, the city slept in harmony, aware in subtle ways of the connections that bound it together. The laughter, curiosity, and movements of its residents resonated within the currents, shaping the ebb and flow of life beneath the waves. And in this hidden symphony, the magic of the city, its quirks, its mysteries, and its wonders became evident to any who paused long enough to observe. As the night deepened over Bikini Bottom, a gentle hush settled across the city. Waves whispered softly above, kelp forests swayed with rhythmical grace, and sand shifted imperceptibly beneath the ocean's currents. Beneath this tranquil surface, the city's secrets thrived, subtle yet enduring, hidden from casual observation, yet shaping life in profound ways. Spongebob stirred gently in his pineapple home, the soft light of bioluminescent algae filtering through the windows. Every pore in his sponge-like body absorbed energy from the currents around him, enhancing his natural vitality while subtly influencing the surrounding water. Even in stillness, SpongeBob's presence radiated warmth and motion, a quiet heartbeat that contributed to the unseen rhythms of the city. Patrick's star, lying beneath his rock, emitted vibrations that stabilized microcurrents in the sand. Starfish possess a unique sensitivity to pressure and movement, and Patrick's relaxed presence had long-term effects on the balance of nearby currents. His idleness, perceived by many as laziness, was in fact a form of quiet guardianship, a subtle stabilizing force woven into the very fabric of the city. Beneath the streets, hidden alcoves and tunnels revealed the intricacies of Bikini Bottom's unseen life. Tiny amphipods, crabs, and burrowing worms shaped the sand as they moved, creating channels for water to flow with precision. Even the smallest creature contributed to the city's equilibrium. Some tunnels beneath Goo Lagoon were said to carry faint musical vibrations from distant currents, creating soft hums that influenced the behavior of both flora and fauna. The Krusty Krab, though quiet at night, held its own hidden energies. The layout of the interior, from tables to counters, was aligned subtly with local currents. Krabby Patties themselves, though simple in appearance, were crafted with precision, their heat and aroma radiating into the surrounding waters, guiding the movement of passing fish. Even the smoke from the grill, faint and curling, interacted with currents in ways that balanced temperature and energy across nearby streets. Sandy Cheek's tree dome glimmered softly beneath the waves. Air pockets, reflective surfaces, and precisely placed instruments allowed Sandy to observe and influence currents subtly. The plants within her dome responded not only to light and air, but also to vibrations in the surrounding ocean, creating a network of feedback that harmonized the city's hidden energies. Her inventions, often unseen by others, were crucial threads in the tapestry of Bikini Bottom's balance. The jellyfish fields beyond the city shimmered under the moonlight. Each jellyfish glowed faintly, emitting gentle pulses of light that interacted with ocean currents. Their movements created minute changes in water pressure, influencing the motion of plankton, small fish, and even sand grains. Observing these creatures revealed the city's hidden pulse, a pattern of energy and movement that connected every resident and structure. Squidward's home, though imposing and solitary, played its own role. The moai-like structure reflected and refracted faint moonlight, guiding currents and shadows across nearby streets. Even when Squidward practiced his music quietly, vibrations traveled through the walls and sand, affecting distant areas. These imperceptible harmonics helped maintain equilibrium, blending artistry with the hidden science of the city. Patrick's rock, seemingly inert, contained luminous microorganisms that glowed softly at night. These organisms responded to minor changes in temperature, light, and vibration, creating a delicate pattern of illumination that influenced the surrounding sand and currents. Tiny trails of light-guided movement of small creatures, subtly orchestrating interactions between the city's micro-ecosystems. Even the chum bucket, often ignored, contributed to the city's balance. Hidden nooks collected nutrients and supported thriving populations of tiny creatures. Plankton, though small and ambitious, moved in ways that altered local currents, influencing everything from water flow to the distribution of planktonic food. These seemingly minor effects accumulated, contributing to a hidden harmony across the city. Goo Lagoon, reflecting the silvery light of the moon, contained microcurrents and tiny whirlpools. Each ripple in the lagoon was influenced by distant activity. A flip of a Krabby Patty, the movement of a jellyfish swarm, or even Patrick's vibrations beneath his rock. Careful observation revealed that these small effects intertwined, creating subtle maps of energy across the lagoon and city. The city's streets were alive with unseen life. Small crabs scuttled in carefully patterned paths, creating trails that guided the flow of water and sand. Sea urchins anchored themselves in strategic locations, redirecting minor currents and stabilizing areas prone to disturbance. Bubbles rising from hidden vents carried traces of minerals and energy, creating faint pathways of influence that interacted with both organic and architectural elements of Bikini Bottom. Spongebob's pineapple, Patrick's rock, Squidward's home, and Sandy's tree dome all radiated subtle energy that interacted with currents, light, and movement. The combined effect of these structures, inhabitants, and natural phenomena created a network of balance, a city alive not only in what was visible, but in every hidden current and ripple beneath the waves. By the depth of night, bioluminescent creatures emerged in full glow, illuminating hidden pathways and alcoves. Tiny organisms, drifting on gentle currents, cast soft, ambient light that guided fish, crabs, and even the occasional passing jellyfish. These lights also affected the temperature and energy of nearby water, subtly influencing interactions in the city. In this quiet illumination, Bikini Bottom's magic was most apparent, a world alive with movement, color, and interconnected energy. Even the smallest events held significance. A bubble released from Spongebob's home could drift past coral and jellyfish, altering currents subtly. Patrick shifting in his sleep could influence microcurrents beneath his rock. Sandy adjusting a device within her tree dome could ripple outward, affecting water flow and energy distribution across the city. Each motion, no matter how minor, contributed to the hidden symphony of Bikini Bottom, a testament to the interconnectedness of all things. As the night reached its peak, currents swirled in gentle arcs across the city. Jellyfish drifted slowly through the illuminated water. Bioluminescent creatures glimmered softly, and bubbles rose in delicate spirals. Even the chum bucket, silent and overlooked, played its subtle role. Each element, from the grandest structure to the tiniest organism, contributed to the serene hidden harmony that defined Bikini Bottom at night. And in this serene balance, the city pulsed quietly, alive with stories, curiosities, and mysteries. Every ripple, glow, and movement spoke of the city's secret vitality, its resilience, and its extraordinary intricacy. For those patient enough to observe, the hidden world beneath the waves revealed itself, a realm where even the smallest action mattered, and where the currents of Bikini Bottom flowed with timeless grace. As dawn approached, the first light filtered faintly through the ocean above, casting soft golden streaks across the streets of Bikini Bottom. Shadows shifted with the currents, tracing gentle patterns across coral, sand, and the familiar homes of the city's residents. In this quiet hour, the subtle interplay of light and shadow revealed mysteries often overlooked, a delicate ballet that spoke of hidden forces shaping the world beneath the waves. Spongebob stirred, his porous body absorbing the filtered sunlight and transmitting warmth into the surrounding water. Every stretch, every cautious movement, influenced nearby currents subtly, creating gentle eddies that traveled through coral gardens and along the streets. Even the act of opening a window or moving a flower pot in his pineapple home altered the path of microcurrents, reinforcing the hidden harmony of the city. Patrick Star, slowly rolling from side to side beneath his rock, contributed his own quiet rhythm. The starfish's body, in constant, gentle contact with the sand, generated vibrations that propagated outward, stabilizing minor currents and maintaining the equilibrium of the seafloor. While he appeared inert, Patrick's presence was like a metronome for the city, a slow, reliable heartbeat woven into the ocean's pulse. Jellyfish drifted lazily through the coral gardens, their soft luminescence reflecting the rising sun. Their tentacles, moving in subtle arcs, created minor currents that influenced the motion of plankton and small fish. It is said that observing a swarm of jellyfish closely could reveal the hidden patterns of the city, subtle variations in energy, temperature, and flow. A living map of unseen forces at work. The Krusty Krab prepared silently for the day. Its kitchen, though empty at this hour, radiated warmth from the previous day's cooking. The aroma of Krabby Patties, lingering faintly in the water, created subtle currents that guided nearby fish along paths shaped by hundreds of small interactions over time. Tables, chairs, and the placement of the grill had long been arranged to enhance these flows, allowing the restaurant to blend seamlessly into the city's natural rhythm. Sandy Cheeks, already active in her tree dome, measured light, pressure, and energy flows. Her experiments, designed to harmonize her air-filled dome with the surrounding sea, had effects far beyond the immediate area. Currents outside the dome shifted subtly, plants responded to minute changes, and the city's hidden energy harmonics adjusted in response. Sandy's meticulous work ensured that the balance of life, energy, and motion remained intact, a testament to her ingenuity and foresight. Squidward's home, standing tall and solemn, reflected and refracted the new light in gentle patterns across the surrounding streets. Even his presence, quiet and often begrudging, contributed to the city's equilibrium. The vibrations from his clarinet, whether practiced or accidental, resonated through walls and sand, influencing currents and movement in subtle, almost imperceptible ways. The very design of his moai-like structure amplified these effects, turning a solitary home into an anchor of hidden energy. Beneath the sand, small creatures maintained their delicate roles. Crustaceans tunneled carefully, guiding currents, while burrowing worms created channels that distributed nutrients and energy. Tiny amphipods scuttled along predictable paths, each movement feeding into the city's hidden symphony. Even the overlooked corners of Bikini Bottom, such as the Chum Bucket's machinery or the spaces beneath Patrick's Rock, contributed to this network of unseen influences. Goo Lagoon shimmered softly in the morning light. Small ripples reflected the rising sun, interacting with currents and the movements of jellyfish, fish, and drifting sand. Minor whirlpools formed and dissolved silently, creating patterns that guided creatures along gentle paths. Observing the lagoon at this hour revealed the quiet interconnectedness of the city, the web of currents, and the subtle power of life beneath the waves. Bubbles, drifting upward from hidden vents, carried whispers of energy, tiny reflections of light, and faint traces of past events. Each bubble's path, shaped by microcurrents and interactions with sea life, contributed to the flow of the city's hidden harmonics. Rising slowly through the water, they connected distant parts of the city, forming invisible threads linking structures, creatures, and currents in a delicate tapestry. The bioluminescent organisms that glowed through the night began to fade in the growing daylight, yet their influence remained. Their interactions with currents, light, and temperature had set patterns that persisted into the new day. Even as the city awoke fully, these patterns guided movement and energy, ensuring continuity and balance. The streets of Bikini Bottom, alive with subtle motion, revealed hidden wonders to those who paused to observe. Tiny crabs traced intricate pathways, sea urchins anchored strategically, and plankton drifted with purpose. The interplay of these small forces created a rhythm that resonated with the larger currents, harmonizing the city's natural flow with its architecture and inhabitants. Spongebob's pineapple, Patrick's Rock, Squidward's home, and Sandy's tree dome together created a network of subtle influence. The rising sunlight highlighted this interplay, revealing hidden arcs of energy, paths of currents, and the delicate balance maintained across the city. Even minor actions, a breath, a ripple, a drifting bubble, contributed to the symphony, reinforcing the interconnectedness of life in Bikini Bottom. By mid-morning, the city was fully awake, yet the hidden symphony persisted, flowing silently beneath the surface. Currents swirled in harmonious patterns, jellyfish moved gracefully, and the subtle influence of each resident continued to shape the environment. Life, motion, and energy intertwined seamlessly, creating a city alive not only in what was visible, but in the countless unseen forces that sustained it. As the day unfolded, Bikini Bottom thrived quietly, a city of mysteries, curiosities, and hidden harmonics. Every motion, light, and vibration contributed to its ongoing balance, a testament to the intricate dance of life beneath the waves. For those who paused and listened carefully, the city revealed itself, a tranquil, magical world where every detail mattered and every being played its part in the eternal dance of currents, light, and shadow. As the morning sun climbed higher, the currents of Bikini Bottom whispered softly through coral and kelp. Each flow carried echoes of the city's hidden life, vibrations from the sand, the quiet pulse of sea creatures, and the gentle stirrings of the city's architecture. These subtle movements, almost imperceptible, formed an intricate network connecting the residents, their homes, and the ocean itself. Spongebob moved lightly through his pineapple home, each step creating minor ripples that traveled outward. Even a casual adjustment of a chair, a window, or a sponge flower could influence microcurrents, subtly affecting the nearby coral gardens. His boundless energy, though concentrated in small, everyday actions, intertwined with the rhythms of the ocean, reinforcing the balance of Bikini Bottom's hidden symphony. Patrick Starr, stretching lazily beneath his rock, continued to transmit vibrations through the sand. These vibrations traveled farther than one might expect, interacting with currents and influencing the flow of plankton and small crustaceans. Patrick's relaxed demeanor acted as a stabilizing force, providing continuity and calm to areas that might otherwise shift unpredictably under the influence of tides and currents. The jellyfish fields beyond the city swayed in harmony with the rising sun. Each jellyfish's movement created subtle pressure waves, guiding plankton, small fish, and even sand grains into gentle, coordinated patterns. It is said that the collective movement of a swarm of jellyfish can act like a living map, revealing the invisible currents of energy that connect the city's residents and structures. Squidward's home, standing tall and silent, refracted sunlight in delicate patterns across the seafloor. Even in moments of inactivity, the structure interacted with currents, creating micro-eddies and shadowed channels that guided the movement of fish and the flow of water. When Squidward played his clarinet, even faintly, the vibrations resonated through the sand, influencing nearby areas and blending subtly into the city's hidden harmony. The Krusty Krab, quiet in the early hours, radiated a soft, lingering energy from its prior activity. The placement of grills, counters, and tables allowed subtle air and water currents to pass through without obstruction. Each Krabby Patty, though static on the plate, released minute pulses of aroma and warmth that traveled through the surrounding water, affecting nearby fish and shaping patterns of movement that persisted throughout the morning. Sandy Cheeks, already active in her tree dome, monitored interactions between the air-filled dome and the surrounding sea. Sensors and devices measured temperature, current, and light fluctuations, allowing her to adjust conditions to maintain harmony. Even the plants inside the dome responded to the faintest external movements, shifting leaves and roots in sync with ocean currents, amplifying a natural balance that extended beyond the tree dome itself. Beneath the sand, microfauna maintained the city's hidden rhythms. Tiny crabs dug intricate tunnels, distributing water and nutrients evenly through the substrate. Amphipods scuttled along established paths, while burrowing worms carved channels that maintained equilibrium. Even the overlooked corners beneath Patrick's Rock and the Chum Bucket contributed quietly to the city's stability, forming an undercurrent of unseen activity that supported life above. Goo Lagoon shimmered under the morning light, the surface rippling gently with minor eddies. Each ripple carried the subtle influence of nearby activity. A jellyfish passing, a plankton bloom, or even a small shift of sand beneath a rock. Observing the lagoon closely revealed the network of connections linking residents, currents, and structures, a living web of subtle influence that defined the rhythm of life in Bikini Bottom. Bubbles rose continuously from hidden vents scattered across the spirit city. Each carried traces of light, minerals, and sound, connecting distant corners of the city in ways unseen. The paths of these bubbles traced subtle lines of energy that guided movement, distributed nutrients, and contributed to the overall balance of currents. They were delicate, ephemeral messengers of the city's invisible order. Even minor phenomena reflected the city's interconnectedness. Bioluminescent organisms glimmered faintly as they adjusted to increasing daylight, casting gentle patterns on coral and sand. Small crabs followed predictable paths. Sea urchins anchored strategically, and plankton drifted purposefully. Together, they formed an ever-changing tapestry of motion, light, and energy that resonated with the larger currents of Bikini Bottom. The city's architecture also played a vital role. Spongebob's pineapple, Patrick's rock, Squidward's moai-like home, and Sandy's tree dome interacted with currents, light, and movement to maintain balance. Their designs, whether intentional or not, created subtle channels and patterns that guided life throughout the city. Sunlight filtering through their structures amplified these effects, revealing hidden currents and flows that only careful observation could discern. By mid-morning, the hidden symphony of Bikini Bottom persisted, flowing silently beneath the surface. Currents, light, and vibrations intertwined seamlessly, connecting the smallest organisms to the largest structures. Every movement, every ripple, every breath contributed to the intricate harmony that defined the city, ensuring its resilience, beauty, and wonder. In this hidden realm beneath the waves, life continued in quiet coordination. Jellyfish danced with the currents, plankton drifted in ordered paths, and bubbles traced gentle arcs through the water. Even the smallest residents contributed to the ongoing rhythm, and every action echoed through the city, reinforcing balance and connection. The ocean itself seemed to breathe in tandem with Bikini Bottom, a living testament to harmony, curiosity, and enduring mystery. As the sun reached a gentle height, the coral gardens of Bikini Bottom stirred softly with the flow of currents. Each delicate plant, each sway of coral branches, seemed to hum with life, vibrating with subtle energies that extended far beyond what could be seen. These murmurs, barely perceptible, carried messages of balance, of movement, and of quiet magic, binding the city in an intricate web beneath the waves. Spongebob wandered through a sunlit patch near his pineapple home, each step creating faint ripples that traveled across sand and through coral. His pores absorbed not just nutrients, but the subtle energies of the surrounding water. Every flip of a leaf, every movement of a small fish near him was amplified and carried outward, contributing to the city's hidden symphony of life and motion. Patrick's star, stretching beneath his rock, radiated a stabilizing influence. The vibrations he sent through the sand were delicate but far-reaching, creating microcurrents that influenced tiny organisms and even the gentle sway of nearby coral. Though often thought lazy, Patrick's presence ensured continuity in the city's rhythm, maintaining balance in the subtle interplay of tides, currents, and the life forms they nurtured. The coral gardens themselves held wonders hidden from casual observation. Tiny polyps shimmered faintly as they filtered water, extracting nutrients while influencing the flow of currents around them. Small fish darted between branches in precise patterns, guided by currents and shadows created by the coral. It is said that the coral structure, over centuries, adapted to optimize water flow and energy distribution, creating a silent network of support for the city above. Jellyfish floated gracefully through the gardens, their tentacles trailing behind in arcs that subtly guided plankton and smaller fish. The luminous trails they left behind acted like invisible threads connecting various regions of Bikini Bottom. Observing them closely, one could see the underlying order, currents, movement, and life intertwined in an unbroken, flowing rhythm that shaped every aspect of the city. Squidward's home, cast in the soft light filtering through the coral, contributed to this harmony. Its moai-like structure reflected currents, creating gentle eddies that guided fish and sand alike. When Squidward practiced his clarinet, even quietly, the resulting vibrations traveled through the walls and into the surrounding gardens, influencing tiny organisms and contributing to the city's unseen music. The Krusty Krab, in the background, held a quiet energy even before the day's activities began. The building's placement and architecture allowed water to flow freely, guiding fish and plankton with subtle precision. Inside, remnants of past Krabby Patties radiated warmth and aroma, interacting with currents in ways that influenced the surrounding streets and gardens, a reminder of the city's interconnectedness. Sandy Cheek's tree dome shimmered through the water, reflecting sunlight and amplifying the energy around her. Her experiments, focused on harmonizing her dome with the surrounding sea, extended beyond the walls of her home. Currents shifted subtly in response. Coral branches swayed gently, and even the small creatures inhabiting the sand responded to the balance she maintained. Her tree dome was not just a home, it was a stabilizing hub for the entire neighborhood. Beneath the sand, tiny creatures continued their delicate work. Crustaceans dug tunnels, amphipods moved with purpose, and burrowing worms carved channels that directed water and nutrients. These activities, though invisible to most, maintained the city's equilibrium, ensuring the smooth interaction of currents, residents, and structures alike. Even the corners beneath Patrick's Rock or within the Chum Bucket contributed, their quiet activity harmonizing the larger ecosystem. Goo Lagoon, glimmering in the distance, reflected sunlight, while gentle ripples traced the paths of currents shaped by distant activity. Minor whirlpools formed and dissolved quietly, guiding fish and small creatures along predictable routes. Observing these patterns revealed the subtle interconnections between coral gardens, streets, and the currents flowing through the city. A living map of Bikini Bottom's hidden harmony. Bubbles rising from hidden vents throughout the city carried traces of nutrients, sound, and light, forming delicate connections between distant locations. Their paths created invisible lines that guided the movement of creatures and subtly influenced the currents, reinforcing the city's underlying balance. Every bubble, though temporary, was a messenger in the ongoing symphony of life beneath the waves. Even the architecture contributed to this balance. Spongebob's pineapple, Patrick's rock, Squidward's moai-like home, and Sandy's tree dome interacted with currents, sunlight, and vibration to create pathways that supported movement and life. The placement of each structure, whether intentional or accidental, amplified the hidden symphony, guiding both energy and life through the city. By late morning, the coral gardens pulsed with subtle vitality. Currents flowed smoothly, jellyfish drifted gracefully, and bioluminescent organisms faded gently in the sunlight. Each resident, structure, and creature contributed to the hidden harmony, maintaining a balance that sustained the city and allowed life to thrive effortlessly. The city, though calm on the surface, was alive with quiet power. Jellyfish trails guided plankton, microfauna-shaped currents, and bubbles connected distant regions. The interplay of sunlight, architecture, and living creatures created a continuous, flowing rhythm, a testament to the resilience and intricacy of Bikini Bottom. Every element, no matter how small, mattered in this hidden dance of life, light, and shadow. As the sun rose higher, the city of Bikini Bottom seemed to hum softly with invisible life. Currents flowed through coral gardens, streets, and sand alike, carrying whispers of past events and subtle energies that shaped the present. Every movement, no matter how small, was recorded in the memory of the ocean, an invisible ledger that connected every resident, every structure, and every living creature. Spongebob moved through his pineapple home, careful and deliberate in his actions. Every step, every shift of a leaf or object sent minor ripples through the currents. These ripples traveled farther than one might imagine, influencing the paths of nearby fish, the sway of coral, and even the movement of sand grains beneath his home. SpongeBob's exuberance, though gentle in this early hour, radiated energy that blended seamlessly with the city's hidden rhythms. Patrick's star, beneath his rock, remained an anchor in this delicate web. The starfish's slow, measured movements created subtle vibrations in the sand. These vibrations propagated outward, shaping microcurrents and guiding small organisms along gentle, organized paths. Patrick's idleness, often misunderstood, was in truth an essential stabilizing force that harmonized with the city's hidden symphony. The jellyfish fields beyond the main streets pulsed with quiet light, drifting with the currents in carefully choreographed patterns. Their tentacles trailed arcs that subtly guided plankton, fish, and even the tiniest sand particles. Observing them revealed a secret. Each jellyfish carried traces of prior currents, essentially remembering past movements and influencing the present flow. In this way, the jellyfish acted as living archivists of the city's rhythm. Squidward's moai-like home reflected the sunlight filtering through the water, casting patterns that guided microcurrents and the movement of fish. Even when Squidward remained quiet, vibrations traveled through the walls and sand, leaving faint impressions in the energy of the city. When he played his clarinet, the sound resonated beyond the building, interacting with currents and subtly affecting creatures in distant coral gardens. The Krusty Krab radiated warmth from the day before. Leftover Krabby Patties, the arrangement of tables, and the position of kitchen equipment all contributed to currents and energy flows. Minute aromas carried through water, guiding fish and influencing movement patterns in the surrounding streets. The architecture, combined with daily activity, created a quiet network of influence that connected the restaurant to the hidden flow of the city. Sandy Cheeks, in her tree dome, monitored and adjusted devices to maintain harmony between her air-filled home and the ocean currents. Plants responded to vibrations, light, and pressure, subtly influencing nearby currents. The tree dome acted as both laboratory and stabilizer, extending its influence beyond its walls to balance the surrounding coral gardens, streets, and even distant jellyfish fields. Beneath the sand, microfauna continued their work. Burrowing worms, amphipods, and tiny crustaceans maintained channels for water and nutrients, ensuring the smooth flow of energy throughout the city. Even overlooked corners beneath Patrick's Rock or inside the chum bucket contributed quietly, supporting the overall equilibrium of the hidden ecosystem. Goo Lagoon reflected sunlight, creating delicate ripples across its surface. Minor whirlpools and eddies interacted with currents shaped by distant activity, guiding fish and small creatures along predictable paths. Observing these patterns revealed the unseen connections linking coral gardens, streets, and the city's hidden architecture, a living map of energy and memory. Rising bubbles from vents scattered throughout the city carried tiny traces of light, minerals, and sound. Each bubble traced a path that connected distant points, allowing currents, energy, and even subtle information about past events to flow freely through the city. These delicate arcs formed an invisible lattice, linking creatures, architecture, and natural phenomena in a continuous web of interaction. Even bioluminescent organisms played their part. Their gentle glows, though fading in daylight, left traces in the surrounding water, subtly influencing currents and small organisms. The interplay of light, movement, and architecture created a continuous flowing rhythm that preserved balance while nurturing life. The city's architecture, from SpongeBob's pineapple to Patrick's Rock, Squidward's home, and Sandy's tree dome, interacted with these hidden currents to reinforce stability. Sunlight filtered through structures, shadows danced along the sand, and vibrations carried energy between distant locations. Every element contributed to the enduring balance, a living testament to the resilience and hidden complexity of Bikini Bottom. By mid-morning, the currents hummed gently, carrying memories of past tides, movements, and interactions. Jellyfish glided through their fields. Sand shifted in orderly patterns, and bubbles traced arcs through the water. The city's hidden symphony persisted, invisible yet undeniable, connecting all life in a quiet, ongoing rhythm of memory and motion. Bikini Bottom thrived quietly, a city alive not only in what could be seen, but in the subtle, hidden forces that shaped every corner. Currents, vibrations, light, and life intertwined seamlessly, reminding all who observed that beneath the waves lay a world of wonder, balance, and enduring magic. As the day progressed, the coral reefs of Bikini Bottom became alive with subtle motion. Light filtered through the water, bending and scattering across the city in intricate patterns. Each ripple, each shadow, carried whispers of life, echoes of the past, present, and the quiet anticipation of what was yet to come. The reef was not just decoration. It was a living conduit, channeling currents, energy, and information across the city. Spongebob moved with gentle purpose, attending to small tasks in his pineapple home. Each movement, lifting a flower pot, adjusting a window, even turning slightly, sent minute ripples through the water and sand. These ripples traveled outward, subtly affecting the paths of nearby fish, guiding plankton, and influencing the sway of coral. SpongeBob's constant, joyful presence contributed to the city's hidden energy, harmonizing with currents and light. Patrick Star, resting beneath his familiar rock, radiated quiet stability. Each shift, each stretch, sent vibrations through the sand, propagating microcurrents that influenced small organisms far beyond his immediate surroundings. The starfish's slow movements maintained balance, guiding plankton, small crustaceans, and even the swaying of nearby coral. His gentle influence, though unnoticed by many, was essential to the hidden symphony of Bikini Bottom. Jellyfish swarms glided through the reef, their soft luminescence painting patterns on the sand and coral. Their tentacles created minute currents, guiding plankton and tiny fish along orderly paths. Observing these swarms revealed the intricate choreography of life beneath the waves, a living record of energy flows, resident activity, and environmental balance. Jellyfish were the silent archivists of the reef, preserving memory in motion. Squidward's home, stark and solemn, reflected beams of sunlight that penetrated the water. These reflections, combined with the building's mass, guided currents in subtle ways, creating eddies and patterns that influenced fish movement and sand flow. Even when Squidward played his clarinet softly, vibrations traveled through the sand and water, leaving faint but meaningful imprints that interacted with the surrounding reef ecosystem. The Krusty Krab radiated quiet energy from the day before. The placement of its tables, counters, and grills ensured smooth water flow around the building, while lingering aromas from Krabby Patties guided nearby creatures subtly. The architecture and activity combined to create a network of influence, linking the restaurant to the hidden currents and patterns throughout the city. Sandy Cheek's tree dome glimmered as sunlight refracted through its curved surfaces. Her experiments, monitoring air and water interactions, created gentle adjustments to local currents. Plants inside shifted in response to vibrations, light, and pressure, extending their influence outward. The tree dome acted as a stabilizing hub, coordinating flows and energy across coral gardens, streets, and even jellyfish fields. Beneath the sand, microfauna maintained the reef's hidden equilibrium. Burrowing worms, crustaceans, and amphipods carved tunnels and paths, directing water and nutrients. Tiny, unnoticed interactions contributed to the city's overall harmony. Even hidden areas beneath Patrick's rock or inside the chum bucket played a part, forming the underlying framework of life and balance. Goo Lagoon, sparkling in the distance, reflected sunlight across the waves and sand. Minor whirlpools and ripples carried subtle energy, guiding fish and small creatures along predictable paths. The patterns of movement in the lagoon revealed hidden connections between coral gardens, streets, and urban structures, a map of invisible currents shaping every aspect of life. Rising bubbles drifted lazily, carrying traces of minerals, light, and energy. Each bubble's path traced a subtle line of connection, linking distant areas of the city. These ephemeral arcs of motion allowed currents, energy, and even information about past events to flow freely, reinforcing the interconnected web of Bikini Bottom. Bioluminescent organisms, though fading under daylight, left residual influence in the currents. Their gentle glow-shaped microcurrents guided plankton and subtly affected energy distribution. Combined with sunlight, these interactions created layered rhythms of light, motion, and energy that pulsed continuously through the city. The city's architecture, Spongebob's pineapple, Patrick's rock, Squidward's moai-like home, and Sandy's tree dome, interacted with currents, light, and vibrations to maintain balance. Sunlight refracted through structures, shadows danced across sand, and microcurrents flowed seamlessly. Together, these elements supported a network of hidden influence that preserved the city's harmony. By afternoon, the reef pulsed with quiet vitality. Jellyfish floated gracefully, currents moved in subtle arcs, and sand shifted gently beneath small organisms. Every resident, every building, and every microfauna interaction contributed to the ongoing rhythm, reinforcing balance and sustaining the magic of Bikini Bottom. Bikini Bottom thrived quietly, a city alive in both visible and hidden ways. Currents, vibrations, and energy intertwined seamlessly, connecting residents, architecture, and the natural environment. Even the smallest actions, a bubble rising, a fish darting, a subtle shift of sand, contributed to the city's ongoing symphony, a testament to its enduring wonder and resilience. As afternoon settled into the soft golden glow of early evening, Bikini Bottom exhaled a quiet breath. Currents moved like invisible threads weaving through the streets, coral gardens, and the open waters beyond. The city's pulse, gentle and steady, resonated through every corner, connecting the inhabitants and the environment in subtle harmony. Spongebob wandered through the familiar streets near his pineapple, observing small details with his usual gentle curiosity. The sway of a nearby kelp stalk, the shimmer of a passing fish, and the soft ripple of water over sand all seemed to respond to his presence. Each movement he made, though small, became part of the city's quiet rhythm, a thread in the intricate tapestry of life beneath the waves. Patrick Star, resting peacefully beneath his rock, continued to radiate calm. His slow stretches and slight movements transmitted vibrations through the sand, guiding the gentle currents around him. The city seemed to breathe in tune with Patrick's tranquil energy, as though his serenity were an unseen heartbeat anchoring the lives around him. The coral gardens shimmered softly, bathed in the fading light. Tiny fish darted gracefully among the coral branches, and jellyfish glided overhead, trailing arcs of luminescent light. Even as the day began to fade, the reef continued to hum with life, each subtle motion echoing the city's pulse. Shadows and light danced together, weaving a quiet lullaby for all who lived there. Squidward's moai-like home stood solemn and still, yet it participated in the evening's symphony. The sun's last rays reflected off its surface, scattering across nearby sand and water. Each reflection guided tiny currents, while the faint vibrations from Squidward's clarinet practice earlier in the day lingered, harmonizing with the natural energy of the surrounding reef. The Krusty Krab, now quiet and empty, radiated the gentle warmth of a day's work completed. Its lingering aromas blended with the currents, tracing paths through the streets and coral gardens. Even in absence, the restaurant's presence affected the movement of water, the behavior of fish, and the patterns of light on the sand, a silent guardian of order and calm. Sandy Cheek's tree dome glimmered faintly in the dimming light. Her careful experiments, though unseen by most residents, maintained balance between air, water, and life. The plants inside shifted with currents and vibrations, extending their subtle influence into the streets and reefs beyond. The dome acted as a stabilizing anchor, preserving serenity while allowing life to move with gentle rhythm. Beneath the sand, microfauna continued their quiet labor. Crustaceans tunneled, worms carved channels, and amphipods moved along predictable paths. These actions, unnoticed by many, were essential to maintaining equilibrium. Even the quiet corners of Patrick's Rock, or the Chum Bucket, contributed their unseen activity, weaving the hidden threads of harmony through the city. Goo Lagoon reflected the soft amber light of the evening, ripples moving in gentle arcs. Small whirlpools and eddies danced across the surface, guiding fish along invisible pathways. The lagoon, though calm, carried whispers of energy, reminders that the city's pulse extended even to the outermost edges of its waters. Bubbles drifted lazily toward the surface, glimmering faintly as they caught the light. Each bubble traced an arc through the water, connecting distant corners of the city with subtle movements and gentle influence. Their quiet dance reinforced the sense of harmony, linking residents, reefs, and currents into one continuous, gentle motion. Bioluminescent creatures, now faint but visible in shaded areas, cast soft patterns of light. They illuminated hidden paths, guiding fish and smaller organisms while contributing to the city's subtle symphony. The interplay of shadow, light, and movement created a lullaby of calm, a melody that wove through every home, street, and garden. By evening, Bikini Bottom's pulse slowed in preparation for night. Jellyfish drifted gracefully, sand shifted softly, and currents moved in deliberate arcs. Every resident, structure, and tiny organism participated in the serene flow of life, sustaining the city's magic and balance. Spongebob's laughter from earlier, Patrick's slow stretches, and the faint notes of Squidward's clarinet all became part of this quiet rhythm. The city, alive yet at rest, radiated a gentle warmth. Currents, shadows, light, and vibrations intertwined seamlessly, connecting every being and structure. Even the smallest movements contributed to the ongoing harmony, a reminder that Bikini Bottom's magic was alive not only in what could be seen, but in the hidden pulse of life beneath the waves. As twilight deepened, the city exhaled once more, and the gentle pulse of Bikini Bottom became a lullaby for all its residents. The balance of life, energy, and motion continued, a soothing rhythm to carry the city into night. As twilight descended upon Bikini Bottom, the city softened under the gentle embrace of fading sunlight. Shadows lengthened across coral gardens, streets, and sand, merging with the soft blues and greens of the water. Currents slowed to a measured, deliberate pace, carrying whispers of the day's life and settling them into the quiet rhythm of night. Spongebob rested on a soft patch of sand outside his pineapple home, letting the cool currents wash over him. Even in stillness, he radiated warmth and subtle energy, blending with the surrounding water. Tiny fish swirled nearby, guided by the currents he influenced, while bioluminescent algae glimmered faintly, casting soft illumination across the reef. Patrick's star, stretching gently beneath his rock, transmitted calming vibrations through the sand. These vibrations spread outward, touching every corner of the nearby streets and gardens. The starfish's slow, unhurried movements acted like a gentle metronome, setting a soothing rhythm for the city as it transitioned from day to night. Jellyfish floated lazily through the twilight waters, their tentacles trailing faint arcs of luminescence. Their movements, hypnotic and serene, influenced the paths of plankton, small fish, and even drifting sand. They became living lanterns in the deepening dusk, illuminating hidden paths and lending a dreamlike quality to the city. Squidward's moai-like home caught the last rays of sun, scattering soft reflections across the sand. The vibrations from earlier clarinet practice mingled with natural currents, leaving lingering harmonics that settled into the surrounding water. These harmonics seemed to resonate with the slow beat of the ocean itself, creating a sense of calm that reached even the furthest corners of Bikini Bottom. The Krusty Krab stood quiet, a gentle monument to the day's labor. The lingering aroma of Krabby Patties mingled with the currents, blending with the cool twilight air to create a familiar, comforting presence. Even empty and still, the building radiated subtle energy, guiding microcurrents and influencing the behavior of creatures nearby in imperceptible ways. Sandy Cheek's tridome glimmered in the dim light, reflecting the serene hues of the ocean around it. Her experiments, now winding down for the day, maintained harmony between air, water, and life. Plants shifted subtly in response to vibrations and currents, their leaves and branches swaying in tune with the hidden pulse of the city. The tree dome acted as a stabilizing anchor, extending serenity to the coral gardens, streets, and reefs nearby. Beneath the sand, microfauna continued their quiet, tireless work. Tiny crustaceans tunneled methodically, worms carved channels for water and nutrients, and amphipods moved along their established paths. These unseen actions ensured equilibrium persisted, harmonizing the movements of all living creatures in the reef and streets above. Goo Lagoon mirrored the twilight sky, ripples forming soft, hypnotic patterns. Small eddies guided fish and plankton along predictable routes, carrying the subtle energies of the city outward to distant corners. The lagoon acted as a reflective mirror for the unseen symphony below, recording currents, light, and vibrations in its tranquil surface. Bubbles floated lazily from hidden vents, catching the soft glow of bioluminescent algae. Each bubble traced gentle arcs through the water, linking distant parts of the city in a quiet, invisible network. Their movement, slow and deliberate, contributed to the subtle harmony that connected every street, home, and reef of Bikini Bottom. The city's structures, Spongebob's pineapple, Patrick's rock, Squidward's moai-like home, and Sandy's tree dome, interacted with the slowing currents, diffused light, and vibrations to sustain the gentle rhythm of twilight. Shadows danced across walls and sand, echoing softly in the water, creating patterns that spoke of quiet, continuity, and balance. As night approached fully, jellyfish drifted in graceful loops above coral gardens, sand shifted under tiny creatures, and subtle currents carried the city's pulse through every home and reef. The ambient sounds of water, soft bubbles, and faint rustlings of life created a lullaby that wrapped the city in serenity. Bikini Bottom, alive yet resting, exhaled the calm of twilight. Currents, shadows, light, and movement intertwined seamlessly, connecting all living beings and structures. Every small ripple, every subtle vibration contributed to the hidden symphony of the city, sustaining harmony and offering a soothing rhythm for those who pause to feel it. The gentle pulse of the ocean, the soft glow of bioluminescence, and the tranquil movements of its residents combined to create a perfect lullaby. In this quiet hour, Bikini Bottom existed in a state of serene equilibrium, ready to drift into the night, carrying the city's magic and life through the approaching darkness. As night fully settled over Bikini Bottom, the city exhaled a quiet sigh. The last rays of sunlight disappeared, leaving the water bathed in deep, calming blues. Shadows deepened across streets, reefs, and coral gardens, while the gentle pulse of currents slowed, carrying whispers of the day into the night. The city's rhythm became soft and steady, a lullaby in motion beneath the waves. Spongebob rested comfortably in his pineapple home, the soft glow of bioluminescent algae filtering through the windows. The gentle sway of kelp outside created patterns of light and shadow that danced quietly across the sand. Even in stillness, Spongebob radiated warmth and subtle energy, which blended into the currents and contributed to the calm of the surrounding waters. Patrick's star lay beneath his rock, motionless, but alive with quiet vibrations. The starfish's presence transmitted subtle waves through the sand, guiding microcurrents and maintaining balance in the nearby streets and reefs. Patrick's serene stillness served as a foundation for the city's tranquility, anchoring the pulse of life in gentle harmony. The jellyfish fields shimmered faintly under the moonlight filtering through the water. Their luminescent glow created soft arcs of light, illuminating coral branches and the sand below. Each movement of a jellyfish guided plankton, fish, and tiny particles of sand in graceful patterns, adding rhythm and life to the quiet night. They became ethereal dancers, painting invisible lines that connected every part of the city. Squidward's home stood solemn and silent, catching the faint glimmer of moonlight. Its moai-like structure reflected the soft illumination, casting subtle patterns across the surrounding sand. Vibrations from his clarinet practice earlier in the day lingered in the water, blending with natural currents and harmonizing with the gentle rhythms of the reef. Even in absence, Squidward's home contributed to the city's nocturnal symphony. The Krusty Krab, quiet and still, radiated a comforting warmth. The lingering aroma of Krabby Patties mixed with the cool currents, weaving invisible paths through the city. Tiny fish and creatures responded to these subtle influences, guided gently by the unseen harmonics of scent, light, and water movement. The restaurant, though empty, acted as a silent guardian of order and serenity. Sandy Cheeks' tridome glimmered softly, its interior plants swaying gently with vibrations and currents. The air inside harmonized with the surrounding water, creating subtle adjustments to currents and energy. Sandy's dome extended its influence to nearby coral gardens and streets, stabilizing the flow of life while offering a sense of safety and calm to the city as night fell. Beneath the sand, microfauna continued their delicate work. Burrowing worms, amphipods, and tiny crustaceans maintained channels for water and nutrients, ensuring the hidden equilibrium of the city remained intact. Even unnoticed, their quiet labor contributed to the soft, soothing rhythm that defined the night. Goo Lagoon reflected the moonlight in gentle ripples. Minor eddies traced arcs through the water, guiding fish along predictable paths. The lagoon mirrored the city's hidden harmonies, recording currents, vibrations, and energy in a tranquil, reflective surface. The soft sounds of water, combined with subtle movement, created a calming soundtrack for the city's nocturnal life. Bubbles rose lazily from vents throughout the city, glimmering faintly as they caught the ambient light. Each bubble traced gentle arcs, connecting distant corners of Bikini Bottom through subtle currents. Their delicate movement reinforced the quiet rhythm, linking reefs, streets, and homes into one seamless, peaceful flow. Bioluminescent organisms glowed faintly in shaded areas, casting gentle light across sand, coral, and hidden crevices. Their subtle illumination guided tiny creatures and created an ethereal pattern that danced across the city. Combined with the movements of currents and residents, the light contributed to a tranquil, hypnotic rhythm that wrapped the city in serenity. As the night deepened, currents moved in soft, deliberate arcs. Jellyfish drifted gracefully, sand shifted gently under microfauna, and the gentle sway of kelp and coral created a lullaby in motion. Spongebob's calm presence, Patrick's gentle vibrations, and the lingering harmonics from Squidward's clarinet blended with these natural movements, forming a continuous, soothing symphony. Bikini Bottom, alive yet at rest, radiated a soft warmth. Currents, light, shadows, and motion intertwined seamlessly, connecting all life and structures. Every tiny ripple, vibration, and glowing pulse contributed to the hidden nocturnal symphony, sustaining balance and offering perfect tranquility. The city exhaled, a slow, calming breath that spread through every corner. In this quiet hour, Bikini Bottom existed in perfect harmony, a world of gentle motion, serene energy, and subtle magic. The night wrapped the city in a comforting embrace, readying its residents for rest, dreams, and the continuation of life beneath the waves. As night deepened, Bikini Bottom descended into a serene, almost sacred stillness. The water above shimmered faintly, reflecting soft glimmers of moonlight that filtered through the surface. Currents slowed, folding gently around coral, streets, and sand, carrying the hushed whispers of the day's life and settling them into the quiet rhythm of night. Spongebob, tucked comfortably in his pineapple home, felt the gentle pulse of the ocean as if it were a lullaby. The sway of kelp outside, combined with faint glimmers from bioluminescent algae, cast soothing patterns across the sand. Even his slightest movements sent ripples into the surrounding currents, joining the quiet song of the city. The rhythm was slow, deliberate, and profoundly calming. Patrick's star lay beneath his rock, entirely still. The starfish's calm vibrations propagated through the sand, spreading a sense of stability across the streets and coral gardens. Patrick's restful presence anchored the city's nocturnal pulse, allowing creatures and currents to settle into the peaceful cadence of deep night. Jellyfish drifted slowly through the water, their faint luminescence tracing arcs of light that seemed suspended in the soft darkness. Each delicate movement guided plankton and small fish along invisible paths, their hypnotic motions blending with the subtle sway of coral branches. The jellyfish became silent dancers, orchestrating patterns that lulled the city into calm. Squidward's moai-like home stood quietly among shadows, its stoic form reflecting faint moonlight. Residual vibrations from his clarinet earlier in the day mingled with gentle water currents, leaving faint harmonics in the surrounding reef. These lingering echoes, though subtle, contributed to the nocturnal rhythm, harmonizing with the natural pulses of sand, water, and life. The crusty crab, now silent and dark, radiated a soft warmth that mingled with ocean currents. The lingering aroma of Krabby Patties drifted faintly through the water, weaving subtle paths that guided nearby fish and microorganisms. Even at rest, the restaurant's presence became a comforting anchor, part of the city's hidden nocturnal symphony. Sandy Cheek's tree dome glimmered gently, its plants swaying with the soft currents and vibrations. Air and water moved in harmony, stabilizing nearby reefs and streets. The tree dome's quiet influence reached beyond its walls, extending a sense of calm and equilibrium throughout the city, connecting every resident and corner to the night's slow pulse. Beneath the sand, tiny creatures continued their work in silence. Crustaceans tunneled, amphipods moved along ancient paths, and burrowing worms carved channels for water and nutrients. Their unseen efforts maintained the city's balance, allowing currents, light, and life to flow smoothly in the profound stillness of night. Goo Lagoon reflected the deepening darkness, its surface rippling softly as minor eddies moved in gentle arcs. Fish glided along the water's surface, guided by the subtle energy of currents and vibrations. Even the lagoon, serene and reflective, seemed to join in the lullaby, carrying the quiet pulse of the city across the expanse of water. Bubbles drifted upward slowly, catching faint light and carrying traces of energy, sound, and movement. Each bubble formed a quiet link between distant areas of the city, reinforcing the gentle rhythm of life. Their paths intertwined with currents, bioluminescence, and subtle vibrations, forming an invisible network of peace. Bioluminescent organisms glimmered faintly, casting soft illumination across sand, coral, and hidden corners. The gentle interplay of shadow and light created moving patterns that guided tiny creatures, while blending harmoniously with currents, vibrations, and subtle energy from buildings and residents. The entire city became a living, breathing lullaby. As night reached its deepest point, currents moved in, deliberate, circular arcs. Jellyfish glided gracefully. Sand shifted quietly under microfauna, and every creature participated in the slow, tranquil rhythm. Spongebob's calm presence, Patrick's gentle vibrations, and the lingering echoes from Squidward's clarinet blended seamlessly with the natural flow of currents, forming a continuous, soothing pulse throughout the city. Bikini Bottom, fully immersed in night, radiated an almost tangible serenity. Currents, light, vibrations, and subtle movement intertwined to create a rhythm that connected all life. Every ripple, flicker of light, and gentle sway contributed to the city's hidden symphony, sustaining balance and enveloping the residents in profound calm. The ocean exhaled, and the city followed, a slow, steady rhythm that carried every resident into dreams. In the deep calm, Bikini Bottom existed as a world of perfect balance, quiet magic, and gentle motion, preparing all its creatures for the rest and renewal of night. As the night reached its most profound depth, Bikini Bottom seemed suspended in a timeless calm. The water above reflected the soft shimmer of distant moonlight, bending gently over coral gardens and streets. Currents slowed to a tender, deliberate pace, carrying whispers of the day and weaving them into the serene heartbeat of the city. Every movement, every vibration, every light pulse became part of a quiet, continuous rhythm. Spongebob lay nestled within his pineapple, the gentle sway of the home's structure merging with the soft undulations of the surrounding water. Tiny fish drifted lazily nearby, following the subtle currents that Spongebob's presence had influenced throughout the day. The warm, gentle energy he radiated seemed to pulse in harmony with the ocean itself, as if the city acknowledged his enduring, joyful spirit. Patrick's star, beneath his rock, remained entirely still, yet his presence continued to stabilize the sands and current. The slow, rhythmic vibrations of his body echoed faintly through the city, like a distant metronome. Each subtle pulse guided small creatures, influenced drifting sand, and reassured the hidden microfauna that the city was balanced, calm, and safe in the deep night. Jellyfish floated in languid, mesmerizing arcs, their bioluminescence painting faint, gentle paths through the water. Each movement guided plankton and tiny fish with an effortless grace, creating an invisible dance that intertwined with the city's currents. Their soft glow illuminated coral and sand in fluid patterns, a natural lullaby that accompanied the last echoes of day. Squidward's moai-like home, dark and solemn, absorbed the soft moonlight. The faint residual vibrations from his clarinet merged with natural currents, echoing quietly through the reefs and sand. These lingering harmonics seemed to harmonize with the deep ocean, connecting the home's silent energy to the gentle heartbeat of the city. Even in his absence, Squidward contributed to the nocturnal symphony. The crusty crab, silent and empty, exuded a comforting presence. Lingering warmth and faint aromas from the day's activities mingled with currents, reaching distant corners of the city. Tiny fish, sand creatures, and drifting plankton followed these invisible traces, moving in subtle, synchronized rhythms. The restaurant became a quiet anchor of comfort, a sentinel of calm amidst the sleeping city. Sandy Cheek's tridome shimmered faintly in the deep night. The gentle sway of plants, the subtle movement of air and water, and the balanced interplay of currents ensured harmony extended beyond its walls. Sandy's dome became a stabilizing force, radiating tranquility across coral gardens, streets, and jellyfish fields. Every creature and structure within its influence seemed to drift effortlessly into rest. Beneath the sand, microfauna continued their silent labor. Burrowing worms, amphipods, and tiny crustaceans maintained channels for water, nutrients, and energy flow. Their unending work reinforced the city's equilibrium, allowing currents and life to move in a continuous, undisturbed rhythm. Even the most overlooked corners of Patrick's Rock or the Chum Bucket participated quietly in the balance of night. Goo Lagoon reflected the muted moonlight, ripples forming arcs that guided fish along tranquil pathways. Minor eddies danced gently, mirroring the slow pulse of currents through the streets and reefs. The lagoon acted as a reflective surface for the city's nocturnal energy, extending its calm to the outermost reaches of Bikini Bottom. Bubbles drifted upward lazily, their arcs slow and deliberate. Each bubble connected distant parts of the city, tracing invisible lines of energy, light, and subtle vibrations. The combined movement of all bubbles created a delicate lattice of calm, linking homes, reefs, and streets into a seamless, harmonious network. Bioluminescent creatures glimmered faintly, casting soft illumination across sand, coral, and hidden corners. Their gentle glow painted fluid patterns, guiding small creatures and blending with the slow currents, vibrations, and energy of the city. The reef, the streets, and the homes all participated in a living lullaby of night. As the night deepened further, currents moved in circular, undulating arcs. Jellyfish floated gracefully. Sand shifted softly under microfauna, and every element of the city settled into a continuous, soothing rhythm. SpongeBob's calm presence, Patrick's vibrations, and the lingering harmonics from Squidward's clarinet merged with natural currents, forming a heartbeat that echoed quietly through every corner of Bikini Bottom. The city, fully embraced by night, radiated profound serenity. Currents, light, shadows, and gentle motion intertwined seamlessly, connecting every being and structure. Each ripple, each faint glow, and each soft vibration contributed to the hidden symphony, sustaining balance and preparing the city for deep, restful sleep. Bikini Bottom exhaled a final, slow breath for the night. In this profound calm, the city existed in perfect harmony, a world of gentle motion, serene energy, and quiet magic, carrying every resident into dreams beneath the waves. The night had reached its deepest, most tranquil hour. Bikini Bottom lay in a soft, undisturbed silence, wrapped in the gentle embrace of the ocean. Currents moved slowly, weaving through streets, coral gardens, and sandy floors, carrying whispers of life and weaving them into the city's continuous lullaby. Every ripple, every faint glow, every subtle vibration blended into one harmonious rhythm, guiding the residents toward restful slumber. SpongeBob rested peacefully in his pineapple home, the soft sway of the walls merging with the gentle movements of the surrounding water. Tiny fish glided past the windows, following currents that shimmered with faint bioluminescence. The warm energy of SpongeBob's joyful spirit radiated subtly, merging with the quiet pulse of the city and contributing to the serene lullaby that filled the night. Patrick's star lay beneath his rock, completely still, yet his calm presence sent gentle vibrations through the sand. These vibrations traveled outward, guiding tiny creatures, shaping currents, and anchoring the quiet rhythm of the city. Patrick's serene energy was a stabilizing force, a slow heartbeat beneath the waves that allowed the city to settle fully into rest. Jellyfish drifted lazily through the water, their arcs of luminescence painting ghostly trails across coral and sand. Their hypnotic movement guided plankton and small fish, creating invisible patterns that lulled the city into a deeper, more profound calm. Each jellyfish became a gentle lantern, illuminating hidden paths and weaving tranquility into every corner of the reef. Squidward's moai-like home stood quietly, its stone surface catching the faint glow of bioluminescent creatures. Vibrations from earlier clarinet practice lingered in the water, blending with the natural movement of currents and forming faint harmonics that resonated through the city. Even in the stillness, Squidward's home contributed to the serene nocturnal symphony, echoing softly in the distance. The crusty crab, dark and silent, exuded a comforting warmth. Lingering aromas of Krabby Patties, mixed with the slow-moving currents, tracing subtle pathways through the streets and coral gardens. Tiny fish and microfauna followed these invisible traces, moving in harmony with the soft rhythm of night. The restaurant, though empty, was a quiet guardian of order, anchoring the city in calm. Sandy Cheeks' tree dome glimmered faintly, the plants swaying in gentle arcs with vibrations and currents. Air and water moved in perfect harmony, stabilizing nearby streets, reefs, and jellyfish fields. Sandy's dome extended a calming influence across Bikini Bottom, ensuring that every home, garden, and corner of the city settled fully into rest. Beneath the sand, microfauna continued their quiet work, maintaining channels for water, nutrients, and energy. Even unseen, their actions sustained the balance of currents, light, and life, allowing the city to exist in perfect, undisturbed harmony. Every small movement contributed to the gentle lullaby of the night. Goo Lagoon reflected the faint glow of moonlight and bioluminescent creatures. Ripples traced soft arcs, guiding fish and tiny organisms along serene paths. The lagoon, calm and still, mirrored the city's hidden pulse, a gentle reminder of the delicate harmony that extended from the deepest reefs to the streets above. Bubbles drifted slowly toward the surface, catching faint glimmers of light, Each bubble formed an invisible bridge, linking distant corners of the city and reinforcing the continuous, soothing rhythm. Their arcs, slow and deliberate, became part of the nocturnal symphony, connecting reefs, streets, and homes in a seamless network of calm. Bioluminescent creatures glimmered faintly, casting soft patterns across sand, coral, and hidden nooks. Light, shadow, and gentle movement intertwined, guiding small creatures and blending harmoniously with currents and vibrations. The city itself seemed alive in the softest, most tranquil way, a living lullaby of motion and light. As night reached its peak, currents flowed in slow, undulating arcs. Jellyfish drifted gracefully. Sand shifted quietly under microfauna, and every resident and structure participated in the serene rhythm. Spongebob's calm energy, Patrick's gentle vibrations, Squidward's lingering harmonics, and the subtle influence of Sandy's dome merged seamlessly with the natural movement of currents, forming a perfect, continuous heartbeat. Bikini Bottom, fully embraced by night, radiated profound serenity. Currents, light, shadows, and gentle motion intertwined to create a rhythm that connected every being and structure. Every ripple, every glow, every subtle vibration contributed to the city's hidden symphony, sustaining balance and carrying all its residents into dreams. In the deepest hours, the city seemed to exhale slowly, a breath that wrapped every creature, every coral garden, every street, and every home in comforting calm. In this profound stillness, Bikini Bottom existed as a world of perfect harmony, gentle motion, and quiet magic, a sanctuary beneath the waves, where life and dreams flowed together in endless serenity.